Avoid the lottery of FIFA points. Head over to u7bike.com. Use the code TVM at checkout for a 5% off. What is going on, guys? TVM here. Welcome to another video. Today is kind of like a FIFA 19 year in review. Sort of. I was going to do this with live gameplay in the background and me playing the game while talking, but I've just done a Road to Glory where I've done that, recorded a game while playing, talking over it, and I just can't concentrate on the game and get my words out, so I end up talking just bollocks for 20 minutes. So I don't want to do that today. You might not be interested in this, and that's all well and good, and if you're not, then that's cool. I'll see you guys in the next video, or never again. What is up with my... I need a haircut, I know that. But anyway, a year in review of FIFA 19. I'm going to go through the good, the bad, and the ugly. What we can hopefully look forward to in FIFA 20. Where they've gone wrong this year. I know this could be a very long video. I've not got anything written down. I'm going to go off memory. So I will get things wrong. I apologise. And I will leave massive things out. But first off, let's just give a sort of a brief summary of FIFA 19 from where I'm standing. So... it started off quite good, I would say. I loved the gameplay early doors with the time finesses. I thought they were really fun. It was very FIFA 11, FIFA 12-y. It didn't take itself too seriously. Yeah, contain was a thing. Defending is all AI control. It's all nonsense. Don't like that side of things. I would much prefer to have full control of the defense with minimal AI sort of interference, because it makes it more fun. And hopefully that comes about in FIFA 20. But as far as FIFA 19 was concerned, it didn't matter too much that there was such a thing as drop back. It didn't matter so much that there was AI defending, because time finesse shots were so broken that you didn't need to get that close to the goal. And people needed to defend. You know, they had to come out and meet you and try and get the ball from you, because if they give you half a yard, 25 yards from goal, you are putting that into the top corner. There were people who weren't advocates of it and who didn't like it, and that's fair enough, and that's why people were complaining about the defending. And eventually EA caved for whatever reason and nerfed it all. And then that's when I sort of lost interest in the game, and that's when everyone kind of went, hang on a minute, the defending in this is awful. And in fixing a problem in time finesse shots, it opened up a can of worms, because now everyone was like, hang on a minute, what's happened to the defense? Why all of a sudden can't I get past this this team? Because he's just sat in his own penalty area. Can't shoot from distance anymore. Oh, well done, EA, you've ruined your game. So, yeah, in fixing time finesse shots, they actually broke it even more. They should have just left it the way it was. But, I digress. That was one mistake that they made, on top of so many others. This year, I think they've made more mistakes than probably the last 2 or 3 FIFAs combined. Now, I'm not going to sit here and rattle them off, because I will literally be here until the launch of FIFA 20. But the ones that really stand out to me were SBC related. For instance, the simple things like getting a player's position right. Sancho was the player that they messed up. They released a Player of the Month Sancho, and they had him in the wrong position. And people were doing the SBC, they took the SBC down, and then they issued... if you'd already completed it, they'd issue you with a correct position Sancho, and you could keep the original, which is, in my opinion, unfair on those who didn't get a chance to do it, because now people have got 2 84, 86, whatever it was, rated cards for the price of 1, and they've got like a rare item, essentially, or a card they can use in an SBC. Same situation with Dembele in a red player pick. That came out in the wrong position, and then people just got issued a free one. A 94 rated Team of the Season card in a player pick is insane in the first place. But then to get one for free because they made a mistake is, okay, great for the people who got that pick. But if you finished elite and didn't get Dembele as a pick, if you didn't choose him, then that's kind of your own fault for not taking the punt. But if you didn't even get the option, how is that fair that someone in Gold 3 has just been given 2 Dembeles when you're in Elite 1 and you can't even get a 90 rated Team of the Season? I didn't agree with the way that they handled it, and the fact that they made the mistake in the first place is just embarrassing. So many times, though, that they've made mistakes with SBCs. The other day, or week, or month, they released the same when they released Footy's Kovacic, they released him twice. They released the Puzzle SBC twice. I didn't complain. I got double the packs, but it's just those simple little mistakes that they keep making is unbelievable. It did almost feel like this year that they'd sort of not given up, but they were like, we can't. Like, nobody likes the game, right? The gameplay has been a problem since day one. No one really gets on with it. We're taking criticism from all over the place. Who cares now? That's it. I'm done. I can't be bothered anymore. It's almost like they did. It's not that they didn't care necessarily. It's just like, I can't be asked. I'll just do whatever you want, Jeff. I don't care. You know, that's like they literally sat round doing, right, SBC team, what are we doing today? Oh, whatever. Just do whatever. Just headbutt the keyboard and see what happens. And often that's exactly what did happen. It was bad. The whole moments icons, wow, that again, very much like the issuing of double Dembeles and things, was a kick in the teeth to those who had done the Prime icons and those who had gone out and bought Prime icons in particular and SBCs related and things. It was a massive kick in the teeth that they even brought them out in the first place. But it gets worse, obviously, because then they decided halfway through, or 3/4 of the way through, when everyone was like, right, okay, well, you know, Lampard is coming, Jari Litmanen is coming, and all the rest of them that they didn't release. Oh, we're not releasing anymore because it's not fair. Do you know what's not fair? You not releasing the rest of them. I think that is the biggest thing this year that they've, apart from gameplay aside, the releasing and then the cancelling of the moments icons was probably the worst thing EA have done in a game cycle, because it screwed over so many people, myself included. I was waiting for a moments Jari Litmanen, which was on the market, but it was too expensive for what it was, because it's not a great card. So I was waiting for the SBC, and obviously I'm well within my rights to expect the SBC to come out at some point, because all these other cards, you know, Van Nistelrooy, you've got Gerrard, Blanc, etc., they've all got moments SBCs. So of course I'm thinking, well, Lampard, but also Litmanen is going to get one at some point. It's just a matter of waiting for it. And then they came out and said that they weren't doing it anymore because they people were expecting Ronaldinho and Vieira and things, and then they came out and said that they were going to be too expensive. So what we're going to do is we're going to release a few here. They gave us Hullet and Vieira, just Prime, Ronaldinho Prime, and they were like, well, you're not getting the moments because they'll be too expensive. Who are you to tell me it'll be too expensive? Guess what? Just make it cheaper. I don't understand. You know, just make it slightly cheaper. Make the price of... I mean, they shouldn't have released them in the first place, but if you're going to release them, you've got to just follow through with it, right? You've got to release the whole thing. You can't just stop halfway through and go, well, we're not doing it anymore, you've had enough. That riled me up the wrong way. It really did. I took a completely different path with my team based on a few players getting moments icons that I would complete, and then because they didn't release them, it just sort of screwed me over. I think that's probably the biggest thing this year that they've done that's angered me. That loads of mistakes with SBCs, loads of them. Things not getting issued when they should be issued and things like that. I think, you know, in gameplay as a whole, I mean, if I had to give this... I'm saying Ultimate Team, not FIFA, because I don't really play any other mode. I think I got halfway through the journey this year and just gave up because I couldn't be bothered anymore. But, I mean, that's another... I mean, I won't make a video on it, but I've done the journey in every FIFA so far. This year came out, and it's the end of the story because they're not doing it next year. They're putting Volta in instead, which is, in my opinion, a good decision. The story this year was horrendous. It just didn't. I just didn't care. It didn't get me gripped at all. I did kind of like the idea that it was a very GTA-esque when they were skipping between the three characters, and you could pick which one you wanted. That was kind of cool, but the stories weren't good enough, and I just, like I said, I don't care. There weren't enough choice, or there wasn't enough choice for you to choose which team you wanted to go to. You know, you were shoehorned into certain teams, which I kind of get for the purpose of, you know, recording lines and cutscenes and stuff, but at the same time, I didn't want to play for these teams, and I felt like I was turning my back on certain players and teams, and I wanted Alex Hunter to be back in the Premier League and playing through the Premier. Anyway, irrelevant, but that just dive bombed for me. And in terms of FIFA, in terms of Ultimate Team, if I'm giving it a rating out of 10 this year, I've got to split it up. Gameplay for me has got to be 2/3 out of 10. It was, and probably is, the worst gameplay of any FIFA that I've ever played, and I've played FIFA 14. It was absolutely shocking. I'm an advocate of this, and I'm not an advocate, but I'm proud of it, really, and I'll say it all the time. I've played every single FIFA that has ever been released since release. I've not gone back and played them, and just to be able to say it, I'm old enough that I got the first one as a birthday present, and I've literally bought it every day on launch ever since it was ever released. And I love FIFA, and this, honestly, is the least fun I've had on a FIFA. Despite the fact that my team is the best I've ever had, this is the least fun I've had on a FIFA ever, because the gameplay is painful. I hated FIFA 14 gameplay. I thought that was horrendous. FIFA 2002 was bad, because you could literally score from the halfway line on any difficulty against any team with any player. And that just took the fun out of it, because why are we even playing it? Because there's no online at that point. You are playing single player. If you can just take kickoff, pass it back to the edge of the D or whatever it was, the centre circle, and just take a shot, it would literally bend all the way round and then round the goalkeeper and in, and it was 100% accurate. 50% of the time, all the time. It was shocking. But no, this is the worst. I've just not had fun on it, really. Time finesses were kind of fun, but as soon as they took them out, it's like, nah, that you've literally eliminated all the fun. Now it's just hard work, and all the mistakes are coming out. I think if they'd left time finesse shots in, you would not have noticed defending being as broken as it is. I'm not, again, that also comes down to, when you go in with a challenge and you win the ball, but you somehow don't come out with the ball. I think people would have noticed that, sure, but I don't think you'd have noticed it as much, because it would have been a case of people going into the penalty area less, people trying to run through people less, because everyone's trying to take time shots. And yeah, that can get boring, and I'm sure it did get boring for a lot of people, but I think I'd much rather have that gameplay than what we currently have. But, that's, maybe it's me just thinking, well, I loved them, so obviously I'm biased towards them. If you think the gameplay is better without them, then that's awesome. But for me, I preferred it with, and I think it would have covered up a lot of the mistakes. They peeled back the wallpaper to uncover plaster falling off the wall, essentially, when they removed time finesse shots. What an analogy that is. So to sum it up, yeah, gameplay 2 or 3 out of 10. Content this year, okay. There have been a few things that I've moaned about. In fact, there's been a lot of things I've moaned about. Prices of certain SBCs have been far too expensive. That 92 Team of the Year nominee Bale, when it first came out, was astronomical. I think it was like 1.1 million coins or something. That is, that for nearly any player as an SBC is overpriced. But for that 92 Bale, which, okay, it's good. I actually have it in my endgame team right now, because I did it second time round when it was actually affordable. That's horrendous. I was far too overpriced. And I could probably count another, 10 players who they released as SBCs that were just overpriced. But in general, the amount of content that we had, can't fault that at all. 9 out of 10. I can't fault it, 9 out of 10. But no, the amount of content that we were given this year was brilliant. And yeah, they cocked up in a few places by issuing the wrong content, putting the wrong SBC out, being lazy with SBCs, overpricing certain SBCs. But they're never going to get it 10 out of 10 perfect. You can't have that, because you're always going to upset someone. So, credit where credit's due. The content this year has been fantastic. In my opinion, as we speak, there should be every special item, or the best of the special items. So, the highest Benzema, the highest Bale, the highest Van Dijk. All those should be in packs between now and just forever, just to give a reason to come back to it after you finish playing it, maybe in 2 years' time. I'll go back at FIFA 19 and have a little look to see what my team was. I've got 200,000 coins. I'll open a few packs. There's things to pack and things. And then, of course, for the next 2-3 weeks, we'll have something to do. But no, they've not done that. So that's a shame. But I would say 9 out of 10 for content. Big fan of that. FIFA 20 then. If you're still here, by the way, I appreciate you greatly. Smack a like on the video and put the word banana boobs in the comments, because why not? Is that a word? Probably not. Yeah, probably not. But for FIFA 20, what am I expecting? More of the same. I think it's disappointment here or there. I don't think the game is ever going to live up to expectations these days, because people's expectations are just off the chart. I'm hoping gameplay is at least a 5 out of 10 this year. Like, if it's the same as what it is this year and there's just huge gaping flaws, we've got a problem, because people won't put up with it for another year. They just won't. So it needs to be better. From people who have played the beta, from the footage that I've seen from the beta, it looks a lot slower, which in my opinion is a good thing. The more that they can make it feel like PES, but with skill moves. I know there are skill moves in PES, but they're so difficult to do, and they're not effective, or that effective anyway. So if you can make it like PES, which is trying to be a real world football sim, but also add that sort of, not arcadey feel to it necessarily, but add the skill moves and be able to beat people with skills, and add that just a little bit more sort of quickness to the game, because even though PES is a great game, believe it or not, the gameplay this year in particular is very good. It still lacks that zip, you know. It doesn't have that, oh, I've got Ronaldo, I'm going to go on a mad one. It just doesn't really feel, it's a bit weird, but I just feel like it needs to have that sort of plus 10 acceleration on the whole game, but be a lot slower in terms, like the fast players need to be fast, the slow players need to be slow, and you need to be able to tell the difference between the two. FIFA 19, I've got Lee Catamol up against Gareth Bale, and Catamol is just next to him, like, alright mate? It's like, no, that wouldn't happen. Catamol would literally be out over here, out of breath, and Bale would be up there, because he's that much faster than him. But in FIFA, they've got that catch-up thing that racing games have. It just doesn't make any sense. So they need to make it like that, where fast players are fast and slow players are slow. And I think that that's it then. You know, just don't make crossing overpowered. Don't necessarily make defending completely useless, because I'm worried about that. They're going to go too far the wrong way. With certain things, like you won't be able to score a cross, you won't be able to defend manually because they've turned it too far the wrong way. But I'm hopeful. The objectives in Ultimate Team look phenomenal next year for FIFA 20, so that is a big plus point. I think they'll continue the level of content. They've always upped it every year, to be fair to them. Since they first introduced SBCs, they've just been taking it up a notch every single year. And this year, like I said, I'm giving them a 9 out of 10 for content, because they've done exceptionally well. Hopefully next year, they won't get a 10 out of 10. Maybe an 8 out of 10 this year for content then. And then next year, hopefully they get a 9 out of 10. But I'm hoping that they keep the same level of content, because we had content a lot. And I've said the word content far too many times. But we did. We had it a lot. They were on the ball. Nearly every week we had a promo, which is brilliant. It just kept everybody engaged. With objectives as well, there's going to be so much to do, and I am very, very hopeful for FIFA 20. But correct me if I'm wrong, don't we say this every year? And then August every year, we're all like, thank God that's done. Hopefully the next one's better. Will we ever learn? That's going to do it for today. Bit of a rant, but essentially my overall feeling towards FIFA 19 is it was okay in places. Content was better than gameplay. Menus were fantastic, but playing the game, not for me. Hopefully FIFA 20 can have a better mix of the two, and I won't actually mind going into games, and then I'll enjoy myself on the menus as well. That's all I'm after. I'm not looking for an experience that literally gets me hooked for the next 10 years. I'm already a hardcore FIFA player. If it's bad, I'm still going to play it because it's FIFA. But I just need that gameplay to be a bit better. That's all I'm asking for. If you have enjoyed whatever the hell this was, then do me a favour and smack that like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and until the next time, goodbye.